All right. Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. My name is Michael Dowry. I have the pleasure and honor of serving as the receiver for the City of Chester. Joining here today for the Municipal Financial Recovery Advisory Committee meeting. On behalf of the Governor's Office and Department of Community and Economic Development, we are joined by Mr. Andrew Sheaf. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
On behalf of Delaware County Council, we are joined by Ms. Kelly Diaz. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Right. And on behalf of the City of Chester, we are joined by Councilman Will Morgan. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Should be noted that we did receive notice last week that Mayor Kirkland will not be available for today's meeting as he is traveling out of the city. Also, as always, we are joined by Executive Assistant Cody Dale. Good afternoon, sir, and Chief of Staff on this engagement, Mr. Vijay Kapoor. Good afternoon. All right, so jumping right in, the notes from the last meeting were circulated along with public comment and a brief agenda for today's meeting. To the first item, apologies for that, I had to mute these notifications on my computer. For the first item of public comment, Mr. Kapoor, would you like, Mr. Deal, would you like to introduce that item?
Sure, thank you. So we did receive a few public comments, both via email and also on last meeting's Facebook post. The first was a question from the Facebook comment from the last video. Can you please elaborate on the possible sale of Delcora and Chester Water?
Yeah, I'll take the lead on that, and any of the committee members, anyone here could feel free to chime in. The possible sale of Delcora, well, Delcora is already in the process of being privatized, as that sale is already working its way through the process. So that's going to continue. What we are seeking on behalf of the City of Chester is the concern of reversionary interest, that some of the assets included in that system belong to the City of Chester. So we are pursuing Chester's right in those particular assets as a part of that deal. So that monetization will continue, and we will continue to seek Chester's rights or interest in that system. To the potential possible sale of Chester Water Authority, as we've stated on a number of occasions, monetizing the water system has to be a part of the process. The bankruptcy process is well underway. Mediations continue with both entities, and we'll work towards a solution. But unfortunately, Chester is not in a position where it can cut its way out of this or try to balance some of these significant liabilities on the annual operating budget. They far exceed what Chester can afford from a debt service perspective and or carrying the liability. Would anyone else on the committee or Mr. Kapoor like to respond to the first question there? Mr. Kapoor?
Just by way of a little clarification, I mean, regarding Delcora and the potential privatization of Delcora or the potential sale, that matter is in litigation as between Aqua and Delaware County. Also, and that matter is also stayed before the PUC. So, as the receiver said, from the perspective of the receiver's office, we want to make sure that any interest or the interest that Chester has is protected there. As the receiver said, monetization is something that really has to happen here to help Chester get out of its financial condition. But I also just want to note that the potential privatization, if you will, of Delcora is in litigation currently, and I believe may be in there for a while.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Thank you for those points of clarity. Mr. Dill, any additional public comment?
Yes, there were two more questions received from an email submission. The first was, are you including the host fee from Covanta in future budgets? And also, is the stadium paying any money towards the budget since they are tax exempt?
So the first host fees from Covanta are factored into the 5-year projections and also into the current year budget for the city of Chester. To the second item, the stadium, a significant portion of the parcel there is exempt from real estate taxes, but there are contributions through earned income tax, mercantile, business privilege, some others, income-based taxes, but the real estate tax is an exemption there. Was that the bulk of it?
It was, yes. There was a little bit more, just kind of some suggestions for the city, but it would not necessarily pertaining to this meeting directly.
Okay. Well, we'll prepare a response on behalf of our office to this constituent, to the resident, and continue the dialogue there. Anyone else or anything else for the public comment?
No, that was everything. Just would like to, again, encourage the public to reach out to us either on Facebook directly in the comments there or emailing your public comments to info@chesterreceivership.com for future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dill. All right, so moving along in our agenda, this next item will defer to Mr. Kapoor for an update on the status of the receiver's recovery plan.
Thank you, Mr. Receiver. And again, we don't have a presentation today. This is going to be a pretty, probably a pretty short MFRAC meeting. Just a couple of updates. The litigation in the Commonwealth Court matter is continuing. The receiver's briefs are due this Thursday. Oral argument again is set in front of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court in Harrisburg for May 24th. The other item of note, I think that is of importance to the committee, is we are in the process of recruiting for a director of finance / chief financial officer. We are using the firm of Affion as we had before for Mr. Leitner, and we are getting close to a couple of finalists in that area, and we hope to be able to come to a consensus agreement on that position, hopefully in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Any questions of Mr. Kapoor from the committee? All right, well, continuing on, brief status update for me as well. I smiled earlier just because of the comparison between this meeting and the last. The length will be significantly shorter. So as Mr. Kapoor just alluded to, always the constant reminder to visit the city's website to keep up on vacancies. There are a number of positions that the city is recruiting for, and we'll continue to add on to the list as Mr. Chief Leitner and others continue to build out their teams and bring in the respective parties. So please continue to visit the city's website, tell a friend, tell it all. We would love to be overwhelmed with the number of applicants and having to make some difficult decisions. So look forward to the challenge there. Want to make myself available. As always, Mr. Dill, whether it be through public comment or individual one-on-one meetings, please feel free to reach out to my office, whether it be phone call, email, or stopping by. And we can certainly schedule some time to speak in more detail about any matter, open book, completely transparent, anything that you would like to discuss. With that, we will also be reaching out to some local entities to see if they would like to host any kind of public sessions. Previously, we called them office hours or coffee with the receiver, what have you. Just making our team available to anyone who would like to engage. So looking forward to those meetings. And then briefly to touch on when our next meeting will be. Second Tuesday in May is May 9th. We will reconvene at 1 p.m. on May 9th. Keystone Opportunity Zone. Well, there's that, and there's also the zones, the census tracts, et cetera. We encourage any and all economic development, I'm sorry, I kind of speaking out of line there. The question that was presented to the committee was received through Facebook, and the question is, how will the city address the Keystone Opportunity Zones? And perhaps Councilman Morgan would like to speak on behalf of the city as well. I would just say that we encourage all economic and community development, those discussions. The city's tax base has to be a part of the long-term solution for the operating expenses to come in under operating revenues. Raising the operating revenues is another way to balance that equation. So hopefully some additional economic and community development will be a part of Chester's future. Utilizing incentive programs like LERTA or COS or as I was saying, the federal opportunities that are available as well. I think it's in the city's best interest to take advantage of those types of incentive programs, but all projects need to be thoroughly vetted, need to be complementary, and really a buy-in from the community of this is what you would like to see in any given neighborhood or sector of town. So generally supportive, but the devil is in the details, so we would need to dig into individual projects further. But the concept of Keystone Opportunity Zones is something that could be beneficial, can be beneficial to municipalities. Would anyone else like to address that question?
Yeah, I'll just add, similar to what you said, of course, we offer all types of suggestions and opportunities to find ways to incentivize economic growth and economic development here in the city of Chester. And that's not just with bringing in outside developers, but that's also trying to build from within with the current business stakeholders that we have here, the current residents that we have here, as far as increasing our tax base, as far as improving the quality of living and the value of the current residential units that we have here. So like you mentioned, the KOZs, the LERTAs, the other incentive programs that we are currently discussing internally and working on to see if it really fits and works within the city of Chester. We're trying to we're getting somewhere. We have some things in place and in mind, but again, any opportunities that are provided and or presented similar to the KOZ most certainly are thoroughly reviewed and vetted to see how we can potentially move forward within that to improve the quality of living and the economic development throughout the city of Chester for the long term.
Thank you, Councilman. I also just, as we're talking about community development, I just want to mention working in partnership with the Chester Upland School District to work on a traffic study. This is starting with the kiddos walking to school and what routes are they taking, how to better staff intersections of the crossing guards or possible improvements to the intersection to help with the flow of traffic. That, although it's starting there, it's going to continue to grow as traffic patterns throughout the city are something that dovetail into a municipal comprehensive plan. And those comprehensive plans include economic and community development. So just want to first thank the district for working with us to convene this study. And we hope to have it wrapped up by the end of the school year and work on implementing some whatever the findings may be, work on implementing them by the start of the next school year. But I just want to thought it appropriate to raise it here in the context of the last question asked. So just, although our primary focus has to be on the recovery plan and the vital provision of vital and necessary services, we certainly understand that our efforts cannot be siloed in any way. That we also on parallel tracks need to be advancing the economic and community development conversations, dialogues, planning efforts, et cetera, so that the both can come together at the right time. So thank you to the Chester Upland School District. Before we part, are there any comments or questions from the committee members? Well, hearing none, we are down to a 15-minute meeting. Thank you for your time here today. We'll look forward to reconvening May 9th at 1 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.